guys, Dahlia here, welcome to my channel. So the beautiful Emily Bourne and the lovely Holly Davis created this writing routines tag. The amount of time that it takes to create a tag is ridiculous. Like, it's not as easy as just jumbling some questions together because there are so many repeated questions in tags. But I was lucky enough to get a tag from lovely Emily Bourne. I will link her channel down below so that you can go and check out her videos. She is absolutely brilliant and she's working on her work in progress, Brittany and Charlie, which I'm going to get to read some of soon, and I'm so thrilled. I've been so excited for it the moment that I heard that she was working on it. This is the perfect tag for me, so let's get into it. Number 1, do you stick to an outline when drafting? Prior to writing the Acra Contessa, I never had an outline, and do you think I finished any of those stories? So now I have quite a thorough outline, and if you watch my evolution of the Acra Contessa, you see how many different outlines I've actually gone through, and I'm still outlining my outline and re-outlining my outlines. I think outlining is one of the most fun processes of the writing process. Number 2, how long do you take to develop characters before drafting, or do you use the drafting process to get to know your characters? I do both of these. If you've stuck around my channel for a little while now, you know that I've created the Creating a Character series, which is basically a 12-part video series on creating characters, crafting characters, and getting to know your characters. But I'm a firm believer in you can fill out these as much as you want, but realistically, the most that you're going to get to know your character is through writing your characters. So I'm still learning about my characters, and I've written the first draft of the Acra Contessa, and I have actually just been recently re-outlining book 3 of the Acra Contessa. And half the characters there I still don't know quite well enough, so I think that honestly, for me personally, I have to write like little short stories of their lives and the transitions and what they've gone through in order to really get to know them. Question 3, what gets you in the zone to write? I don't particularly have an answer to this. Through the writing rituals tag, I guess a lot of people would say something like they have to have their music or a candle or a cup of coffee or something in order to write, or maybe a nice herbal tea. But I kind of just write because I really freaking love writing. I love to plan things, so as soon as I start planning something or writing down an idea that I've had, or with my outlines, I know where I'm going to go, so I just sit down and I just write. Basically, I don't need anything other than me, the idea, or just my book and a piece of paper and a pen. Question 4, what time of day do you write? Do you stick to specific days to write? So I've said this before, but I love to write at the early hours of the morning. There's something really nice about the sound of between maybe 5 to 7 a.m. that I really appreciate. It's so quiet, there's nothing happening outside, people are kind of just starting to wake up if they're going to work. There's just a nice feel about that time. But I just write kind of whenever I can. And I don't particularly stick to specific days to write. I just write when I have time, or when I kind of carve out time in my day. I actually have to write down in my diary, you know, say if I'm writing for tomorrow, I say write today, write at least 1,000 words. Question 5, do you always write in the same place or room? Again, this kind of falls under the category of carving out your time to write. Realistically, I just write wherever I am, whenever an inspiration hits me. Sometimes I'll be sitting in my partner's room watching a movie and we are really engaged in this great movie, but then I will sit down and I have to grab my phone out because I've had this good idea for something to do with the Acra Contessa or maybe a future novel or something. So I have to quickly whip out my phone and write it down there. But I tend to, I guess, do most of my writing right here where I'm filming on my table. My view from my room isn't really nice. It's just a brick wall because we live so close to the neighbours. But I like this space. It makes me feel like maybe it's the same sort of schedule or organised sort of schedule thing that you get at school. But that's kind of the way it makes me feel. And I sit down to write because you're not going to become an author or anything professionally in the industry if you don't carve out that time, if you don't treat it like a job rather than a hobby. So I guess the answer to that question is no, I just write whenever. Question 6. Do you listen to music during a writing session? So it's actually taken me a long time to be able to listen to things or music while I'm writing. Prior to that, I'm okay with having a movie on the background, say my partner's watching something and I'm writing at the same time. I'm okay to have that movie playing because it's good background noise. But if I'm writing on my own, I do like to have Gregorian monk chanting music playing in the background, or actually recently I've gotten into the bamboo flutes that the Chinese and the Japanese play, like with their traditional music. It's very calming and I find that it really works well with my brainwaves, so I write quicker, I write better, and I write more. But I don't listen to anything with words in it. But if I do have to write a particularly tough scene, something that's like a battle scene or something, I do tend to listen to things like Rammstein. Because it's not in English, I can write in English while listening to German, and I don't know a lot of German, so I don't get distracted with the songs, but they create a good tempo and base for me to be able to write the scenes. Question 7, how long are your typical writing sessions? Because I can only write here or there and it makes it quite difficult, I don't actually have set times that I write for. I kind of try to get in at least 20 minutes a day, and sometimes it's no time to write per day, and other times I can write for 4 hours, and so I guess maybe on average it's about maybe half an hour every 2 days if you really want to take that into consideration. But that's only just the writing time. Half the time I am actually planning my stories or outlining or something, or writing down ideas, or restructuring or revising. So the actual writing time takes a lot longer for me than the rest of it. Question 8. Do you read back your work or edit your work before writing the next chapter? I do not do this. I will never do this because it is a terrible idea for me. If I read back over it and saw just how bad it was, I'll get stuck in that editing phase and not be able to move past to keep writing. That's just the way that it works for me, because I am studying and training to become a fully qualified editor. If I read back over my writing, I get stuck in editor phase, not writing phase. And it makes it really tough to go back to writing phase, and so I leave it and I just keep going. Question 9. What's your average goal for a writing session? Word count, pages written, etc. I don't really make goals when writing. I tend to just do what I can in the session. Maybe I try and get a certain amount of time set aside for writing, or I do plan goals. Like I do have bi-monthly goals. Yes, my last goal video was a quarterly goal, but this one is going to be bi-monthly. I find that that's a shorter time works better for me right now. But I tend to write down what I have to finish things by and what I have to do tomorrow and the next day, etc, etc. So if something comes up on a specific day and I can't actually sit down to write, then that means that that day just has to be cut off and all my goals have to be moved to the next few days or something. But eventually I just do enough of everything a day so that I can build up, by the end of that goal period, I build up all the things that I had to do rather than trying to sit down and write a NaNoWriMo word count in one day. So that concludes this tag. I tagged the hilarious Stephen Partridge and also the brilliant Marisa Mohi to do this tag. Those two are one of the coolest people, two of the coolest people, how do you say that? Ooh, yikes. Anyway, that I've ever had the pleasure in talking to or being acquainted with, and they're both on Dan and Marisa's street team, so that's actually how I know them. But both of their channels will be linked below. They are fantastic and I love all their videos. All of them. Go and subscribe and go and watch them. Send them your love. Thank you, Emily Bourne, for tagging me. We are tag sisters, so of course this is what we do, but just watch out. The next tag that comes up, I'm tagging you. Although you already know that because, well, goes without saying really. If you have any questions or want me to cover a specific topic, please drop a comment below. If you want to follow my journey on other platforms, then see the links in the description bar. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and more. I post videos every Thursdays and tags every other Wednesday, so subscribe and hit that little bell if you want to be notified. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye!